In this video, we discuss parenting and schooling with our guest Abiola, a parent with children in school. We also explore whether cell phones should be banned in schools, following Governor Kathy Hochul's recent proposal.
Well. Thank you and welcome to Behind School Doors. We have our co-host.
Yes, Chindi.
And we have a special guest.
Abiola.
And of course, I'm Mimi. So today I figured basically we'll talk about the importance of parental appearance in schools. And of course, Abiola, you are a parent.
Yes.
Who is very active in your children's schooling.
Yes.
Absolutely.
And that's something that me as a teacher, when I was educating, was very important because your children are a reflection of you, right?
Yes.
They're an extension of you. And you as a parent are literally your children's first teachers. So whenever a parent is involved into the school or into the classroom, I realize that 9 times out of 10, I'm not saying all the time, because sometimes the parents have to come down for disciplinary actions. But 9 times out of 10, those children are the ones that thrive. So I really want to focus on the importance of a parent being visible within a classroom. You have anything to add?
Yes, I think also the part I like is the fact that Abiola is a parent and I'm not a parent. There is a difference. I did briefly raise one of my nieces, but it was only for like a year and a half years. It wasn't even that long. So it's not the same.
Right. And that's what I love about this dynamic right here, because I come from the education background where I've taught for 14 years. You're a parent and you've been a parent for
11 years.
and you're not technically a parent, but you help raise children.
Very technically. It was my aunt, so technically it's just helping.
It's all it's all in the same ballpark.
Exactly. So Abiola, I want to know from you, your standpoint as a parent, like, why is it important for you as a parent to be visible or to be there with your child as your child is going through school?
Yes. First of all, I come from a background of where it is important. Education is important. And one thing I learned at an early age is that parents need to be visible because it gives children confidence.
I like that.
You know what I mean? And that's why since I've had my children, I've always been involved in their lives because I think the presence, especially of a father figure.
Yes,
Yes, both parents is important. Father figure is an immense plus
it is.
for children to have. So being present gives them confidence and it just allows them to spread their wings.
Right. I have to agree with that. The presence of a father, because society-wide, and it's true, mothers are more of the nurturers.
Yes.
Mothers, 9 times out of 10, once again, are always the ones who are there. But whenever a father comes in, it shifts something within the
Yes.
child. Because I feel like fathers have this presence where it seems like it's more important in a sense. So the child is just like, oh, I really have to straighten up.
Yes.
Because here comes here comes daddy inside the classroom. I can't play around. I might be able to play around with mommy because mommy could be a little bit more lenient. And I'm just talking based off of my personal experience. Mommy could be a little bit more lenient, but dad is going to make sure that.
Yeah, he lays down the rules,
Right.
And kids need both.
Yes, they do.
You need a
Balance.
parent that's a little lenient, especially moms and the nurturing. Dads just having that strong voice.
Right.
Just lets them know you can do certain things. You have to be focused and stuff like that. Like I always let my kids know, listen, you have to understand that you are important.
Right.
They're important and it's being focused.
Right.
Having the focus, going to school, being in class, listening, paying attention, especially to authoritative figures.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So-
And I want to say this, like, this is not to discredit mothers who are single mothers who are raising their children, because you guys are doing both. You guys are playing both sides. But I'm speaking from my personal experience. Like, I've had some students where I'm like, I'm going to call your mother. And they're like, oh, I don't care. Call my mama. I'll call her myself. Okay. But if the father is present, I'm going to call your father. That attitude completely shifts. It's not every child, but it's a lot of the children.
That's why the father figures just being present alone, just like I said, it just does something to children, letting them know
does.
it's a different ball game.
It's serious, exactly.
serious
and
thing.
and it even goes with certain men in a school or whatever. You don't have a lot of presence of men inside the school system. Whenever we do see men, some of them are educators, Don't get it wrong. A lot of them are in places of authority. You know, their administrations. They might be the principal. They might be the dean, and in a sense, sometimes they do command more respect from children than the teachers, who are primarily female. But I've also witnessed some students who will walk over their male teachers, but then the mother teacher, that's what we call them, the mother teacher will get them all the way together. When I taught sixth grade a couple of years ago, the students were, I don't want to say afraid of a specific teacher. I don't want to say that because they respected her so much. And I think because of that level of respect that she demanded, they were like, I'm not going to mess with this teacher at all. But then you had a male teacher who felt like he wanted to be more friends than to actually be a teacher. They did whatever it is that they wanted to do in his classroom.
One thing I always stress is, as parents, you cannot be friends.
Right. Yeah, say that one more time.
You cannot be friends with your children. You have to be a parent.
Yes.
You know, yes, there's nothing wrong with cuddling every now and then.
Of course.
And that's just showing love.
Yeah, they're your
You know what I mean?
children.
But they need to be able to differentiate you being their parent and you being their friend.
Right.
Trust me. No, you cannot be their friend.
Exactly.
They have their friends outside. You're their parent.
Exactly.
So,
Yeah. So, what is your view of the recent cell phone situation? Right, you have to put the cell phones in the yonder
The yonder pouches, yeah.
pouches. What's your view on that?
Oh, so yonder pouches.
Yeah.
So when I was teaching sixth grade, you know, middle school, it was a pouch that the children they had to put their cell phones in, and it locked, and they could not unlock that pouch until it was time for them to exit the school building. So their cell phones, like they were able to carry their cell phones around, but in the pouch. And if there was an emergency, they could go to a dean and the dean will unlock it for them.
Okay.
But throughout the school day, they had to keep that phone in the yonder pouch. It didn't work because some of those kids in my classroom just bang, bang, bang and
Rip it up.
rip it open. I need scissors. But yeah, what is your view on children having cell phones in school?
So my view is that certain age, maybe I would say maybe from middle school, you can have it, but like I said, there has to be, other than the pouch, there has to be something else where they can maybe put it in a locker where they can't even have access to it, or maybe they can have access to it in classes. They have to put it back, but
Right.
still open the kind of, you know what,
Yeah.
allowing them to have access to it. I don't like it. Only my oldest son has a phone, and not until recently do I allow him to take it to school. But my younger one has been asking, "Daddy, can I get a phone?" No,
Of course.
no, you're gonna be at age 10.
Okay, and I feel like that's reasonable. That's definitely a good
Age 10.
age.
So, but cell phones in school, now I'll say the earliest is middle school.
Yeah.
You know, and there has to be some sort of mechanism where they can have access to it only for emergency reasons.
Right. I had a teacher colleague. She had it's like a poster in a sense, but it had many different pouches in it. So once a child comes inside the classroom, they put their phone inside the pouch. And she's the only one who can have access to
Access
that
to it,
pouch.
yes.
When the class was over, she'll hand the phones back to the students. Or some teachers might have a basket. Put your phone in this basket while we're in class. And then after class, you'll get it. But then you have students who are like, well, somebody's going to steal my phone. So what I did was, especially for my students who didn't have their yonder pouches, or if I caught them, I take the phone, I put it inside my drawer, but I lock my drawer. And I'm the only one. Like, I'll walk around with the key.
Yeah.
And no one's going to have my key.
Yeah.
And they realize, oh, I can trust my teacher, because as soon as class is over, come get your phone, because I don't want to be responsible. Somebody stealing somebody.
Yeah, that's an awesome, way of
Right.
handling it, right? But I feel like you're gonna get those kids that are gonna be like, I don't have my phone on me. They go sit on their desk and then they're like sneaking, texting, and
That's when I'm like, give me your phone.
yeah,
Yeah, just give me your phone. It's going to be easy if you just give me your phone. And I tell them, I said, watch me put it inside my desk. Watch me lock it.
that's
Because
what I said.
you know what I'm saying? Right.
There has to be a better way of securing those phones for those kids.
Yeah, I mean, it's difficult to. There are some people who say that you shouldn't even be having cell phones in schools, but some parents say that they need to be able to track their children.
I
Yeah,
agree with that.
In this
Yeah.
day and age, this
Yeah.
climate.
yeah, like they need to be able to know where the kids are, and usually with a cell phone, you can actually track where your kid is walking with this technology. And so one of the problems that some parents have is that if the phones are off or they're not using them, then they don't know whether their kid is really in school or maybe they left school, they ran away from school, and now you're trying to figure out. Yeah, of course, teachers are responsible to make sure that all the kids are in school, and so if their kid is not in school, they'll call the parents. But they want to be able to track
Yeah.
their kids as to see where they
I
are.
mean, I do it too. I know what time schools, my middle schooler, I know what time school dismisses. As soon as school dismisses, I always tell them, call me.
Yeah.
That way I know you're on the bus.
Right.
You know what I mean? So he calls me, all right, call me when you get home.
Right.
I know you're
Right.
in a house.
Right.
You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
it's important. Like I said, I don't want to say, no cell phones in school at all. No. At a certain age, yes. And there needs to be, because parents still need to be able to reach their kids.
It's the truth, especially once again in this day and age. Landlines are not as common as they used to be.
They're still doing those?
Listen, in my classroom, we had a landline. But like landlines, of course, are not as popular as they used to be.
Yes.
So it is important, in my opinion, for children to have a cell phone because there's so many things that has been and that are still transpiring in schools. So now my question is, and I kind of hate to have to go down this road, but it is a road that we all have to go down because it is reality. Yeah. School violence, school shootings. Let's be specific. School shootings and a child with their cell phone. There's a debate like children should be able to have access to their phones at all times because something can happen. Somebody could be an intruder and they need to be able to get in contact with their parents. Other people are like, there's alerts. There's robocalls that always go out to your parents where your parents are able to pick up their phone or, now schools are texting parents to let parents know like, hey, something is going on. What are your views on that? Like if there's something to happen, should your child have to reach out to you right away?
No, I you know what? When the kids are in school, they're in the care of the school.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good point.
So if something does happen, because I don't want the kids to be having their cell phones and walking around school. That's not what I'm saying. What I want is the school can reach out to me and say, hey,
yes.
We have this situation. Boom, boom, boom.
Yeah.
I'm coming to school.
Exactly. Come and get my child.
My child needs to be in the safe spot till I get there. I don't want them to start freaking out. Ooh,
exactly.
Poor daddy trying to run somewhere and then God forbid they run into an intruder who's shooting down the entire school.
Yeah,
no,
exactly.
So they need to be in a safe place. That's the most important thing. Being safe.
Yeah. And I mean, the phones can pose as a distraction because when you're supposed to be in the corner and quiet, you're too busy like, oh my gosh, you're on the phone. So that's going to attract an intruder to your door, to the classroom, and then something could happen, potentially. I'm all for put your phone away. Be quiet. I don't want to hear anything. So there was an incident that happened at the last school that I taught at. Once again, this is middle school. A child came in with, it wasn't even a knife. I think it was like scissors or something. But you're like, okay, a child comes into school with scissors, whatever. The child ended up stabbing another child with the scissors, yes. And so the way how we found out, they made an announcement over the intercom and said, please keep your students inside the classroom.
Okay.
And so then all the kids were like literally freaking out. And I'm like, you guys have to be quiet. Let's stay calm. If they tell us to do something else, that's when we'll move. But then you had parents who were like, well, I should have been notified because the school contacted every parent. Yeah. And then they also saw it on the news. So the parents are like, my child should have been able to call me. And it's like, no, your child should not have called you during that time. The school called you because number one, the school are in charge of your child at that time. Your children are in care of the school. Yeah. But two, once again, that's a distraction. Yeah. And it could be very dangerous because the intruder could have came inside. Somebody could. Yeah.
I mean, the child in danger.
Right. And then I would have to
be safe.
Exactly. Kick out the classroom window and throw all the kids outside. We have to think as adults and think critically. Yes, you would want your child to reach out to you because you want to ensure that your child is safe. But ensure that your child is safe by understanding that the school will contact you. Yeah. Your child has to be quiet during this time. You're like literally teachers, we're huddling around your child. Like your child has to be in a corner and we're the forefront.
Keeping them safe.
We're keeping them safe.
Yeah, I think it's very interesting because it's like parents want the kid to be able to contact them. One parent was saying that she was so upset with the school for cell phone policy, so she wants to be able to keep in touch with the child. In which I wanted to ask, and she was like, what if there was a shooting? And I was like, okay, are you going to be like John Rambo? Like, Chaco, like, no, it doesn't work that way. Like, you just have to trust that the school safety features will work out and your child will come out safely. Even though there are shootings in school, and there should not even be one shooting in school. But, percentage-wise, if you look at the stats, there are very few cases of where children are killed in schools. And that's why we announce them in news. Otherwise, we wouldn't be talking about it. So I do think that the key is just have parents rely on the school during the school time, unless there's proven abuse or neglect at that school.
Parents have to be able to trust the school's process.
Yeah.
I mean, you have to be able to trust them. They are in care of your children.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know what I mean? They are in care of your children, but you don't want to put your kids in harm's way.
Right. Exactly.
The electronics. That's not what it's designed for.
Right. And once again, parents, cell phones are a distraction,
a
especially with social media. Okay. Let me just bring up social media really quickly. Your child is more focused on being on TikTok
Yeah.
than learning how to spell TikTok. Like these TikTok dances, these TikTok fads, that's what your child is focused on. I need to have my hair, all of that, yeah,
All that stuff.
all of that, like games, social media. This is what schools are talking about when we talk about distraction. Your child can be on scrolling all day, but can't read a book.
Yeah, that's what I'm realizing actually. And it's not just children, even us adults.
Yeah.
I'll speak about myself.
We know.
Phone next to us is like, oh my God.
So imagine kids, right?
Yeah, I was asking myself, I'm like, I was researching a topic that I have to do on another podcast. And I have to read a book. And I'm like, wow, it's been a long time since I read a book. I read articles and stuff, but I haven't read a book for a very long time because of the cell phone.
Yeah.
Every time I'm on the internet, I'm on the phone. When we didn't have cell phones, I was reading books
Right.
again and again and again. Yes.
Book is finished, you put it down, you pick up the next
Yep.
one, and you just read. Now you just scroll.
So for kids, if I came from a generation where there were no cell phones, nothing, and I'm affected, what my kid is always exposed to a cell phone. And I think so we need to think about that.
This is where I would encourage parents to really limit the amount of time that
Yes.
kids spend on the screen, and especially at a very, very young age. I was reading an article where somebody was talking about parents giving their kids electronics within the age of like infant, like newborn, until they're like 5.
Yeah.
That time frame when kids are using electronics at that age, it speeds up their brain so much that everything is in a fast mode.
Right.
Everything is fast mode. So that's why, when you see kids, you take them to the store, they're impatient.
Yes.
I mean, because they want to go. The brain is constantly moving.
And I know that they're also thinking about like there might be a connection between electronics and ADHD. So
Absolutely.
because of that fast, they can't stay focused because things are always changing. Like you're scrolling, you're going from screen to screen. Exactly.
Let's go. I can't stay in this line. From tantrums.
Exactly. So then imagine what it's like in the classroom.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not going anywhere.
Yeah, but wait, we got to figure out how to just control, regulate it. And yeah, especially for young kids.
For younger kids.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
Parents would be like, especially if you have a really young child at home and you have a whole lot of other things you want to do, you're like,
Yeah, take it. I can't.
Parents want to do that, especially if you have stuff going on. You just have to be able to help, train ourselves to not every time give them electronics.
Right, because-
limit it at least.
If they're not doing educational things on these electronics, like, I mean, the literacy level in this country is dropping drastically. The math competency in this country is dropping drastically because these children, they're not reading.
Not reading.
They're not reading. I mean, I was flabbergasted. Once again, I was teaching 6th grade. This is the first and last year that I've ever taught 6th grade, okay? And I think since it was my most recent teaching history, I had students in that classroom, 60-something kids altogether, right? I've had students who were literally reading on a 2nd grade level.
Wow.
And this is 6th grade, 6. Like, I used to teach kindergarten, and I had to kind of revert back to teaching some of these students basic kindergarten skills. Basic, how to sound out a word, how to break it down, how to blend words, certain vowel sounds, consonant sounds. And it was heartbreaking because I ended up teaching sixth grade after 2 years of not teaching. I took 2 years off. And then I went back into the classroom and I took the time off after COVID and I went back and I said, whoa, this is not sixth grade.
No.
Because
A lot of it too is because, parents aren't taking that time to read to their children.
exactly.
I'm lucky about is my kids, like they love reading. And that's because at a very, very young age,
You instilled that.
I instill that into them. Every night, I'll be like, okay, we'll read, even if it's 2-3 pages. You know what I mean?
Read something.
We read before bedtime. Even my 11-year-old, oh my goodness, like we'll be taking, we'll be driving somewhere, and it's where's my book? The driving is in the back seat. Is
That's
reading.
excellent.
That is
You know what I
excellent.
mean? It's
That's
reading.
excellent.
He loves reading.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
makes it easy for teachers,
Exactly.
because
Trust me, it does. It
Yeah.
does.
yeah.
Having them, parents have to instill those values in them at a very young age.
Yeah.
That's it.
That's where you get them.
Spending quality time with your children.
Especially between birth and 7 years old.
yes.
Those are like those prime years where you really have to instill certain habits.
Habit.
Because once 7 years old hits, they're used to that pattern. That brain is used to it. So if you're trying to instill reading at 17, good luck.
Oh, yeah.
Good luck.
You can teach them tricks.
Exactly. Because they're closer to their brain being fully developed than when they were in those developmental stages of
So it's important. Parents have to be there, engaged, encouraging, and loving.
Yeah,
exactly,
definitely.
loving.
All those things are important. Loving your kids.
And loving isn't just about giving them things, right?
No, absolutely not. It's not just giving them things. Loving is teaching. I mean, and above kids, I mean, the kids that you love is the kids that you teach.
Right.
Teaching them everything. Respect,
Yes.
obedience,
Yes.
all those things.
Yes.
Absolutely paramount.
Because those are the things that children, they learn best from their parents.
Absolutely.
Definitely.
They learn best from
We are
their
their mirror.
parents. They see it, right?
emulate.
And exactly.
Absolutely.
And that's that's what I kind of want to end on. Like, parents, please, like, you guys are your children's first teachers.
Yeah.
Everything cannot fall on the teacher, okay? Because I only have your child for 180, maybe 185 days. And granted, they're my kids from September to June, but
Yeah.
they're your children.
Yes.
You birthed them. You brought them into this world. You gave them life. You are their first teachers. I can only reinforce what it is that you taught on a positive level because I can't do the negative. Yes, thank
If we're talking, it's like, you guys, you don't have kids.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, what are you talking about? How dare you talk to us and you like about taking care of because you don't have kids, right?
Right.
So when you're talking to someone who has children and they're giving advice, people are more likely to listen. Yeah. So we really appreciate it.
Thank you. Until next time.
Ready?
Yeah. See you next time.